one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something, you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado,
Free smoke.
look. Scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much I have you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop 1,000,000 songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our blocks, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Winning has a price. And leadership has a price.
Y'all be asking that same question, how does it feel when we lose, bro? How do you think? You know what I'm saying? I gotta come up with another question than asking how does it feel when we lose, bro. I'm tired of hearing that.
Welcome back to another episode of the recap on Saints World. Week 9 in the NFL. I was gonna say it has come and went, but it has not come and gone. We still got a Monday Night Football game to look forward to. Bro, let me tell you what just happened to me. Well, nothing happen to me, but let me tell you what I was just doing like 10 minutes ago. I was on Twitter. It's very interesting me getting on Twitter. You see, I'm like those people who hate watch something and things of that nature. Like, I be seeing people say, man, I hate this show, but they watch every season of it. I'm kind of like that when it comes to Twitter. I absolutely hate Twitter. The people that you find on Twitter are just not mentally well. You know, you see people on Twitter and you say to yourself, how can a human being think this way? How can a human being talk like this? How can a human being, comment these type of things? How can a human being think this is a joke? And I realize a lot of dudes on Twitter like to throw that soft word around. They love throwing that soft word. Oh, you just soft. Very interesting. I done lived a life in which I done met, the type of people in real life who will swing on you for breathing on them wrong, who will fight you off of the littlest inconvenience you give them. And then I run into these dudes on Twitter who talk crazy, talk reckless because they can be behind keyboards. It's an interesting place. But I still find myself going to said neighborhood all the time. It's very interesting. I'm like that hard-headed kid that just don't learn. Anyways, I was on Twitter and I saw this tweet where they was promoting the Monday Night Football game. And in big ass caps, they had Baker Mayfield. I don't know why they keep spelling that man's last name wrong. Baker Mayfield, which we all know should be Baker Midfield. That was in all caps right beside Pat Mahomes. Should be a good one. And my question was, why the fuck is his name in all caps and beside Pat Mahomes like he's some type of superstar or something? I don't get it. But, we'll get into that game once that game happens later on tonight. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. We even got to go back and touch up on this New York Jets game that happened on Thursday night. For a second, I didn't think I covered that Steelers game. And I might not have covered that Steelers game. But I talked about the Steelers and them being a legitimate team now with Russ. But it's almost as if Fields is an afterthought. Anyways, week 9 in the NFL. Man, the season is coming. The season is going. It feels as though the season just started. And it's coming to its end. A real shame. Thursday night, we got Ravens-Bengals. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch that game because I probably will be at work. And when I get off of work, it'll probably be the fourth quarter of that game. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch that yet because I don't know if I work Thursday night yet. Well, I do know if I work Thursday night. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up a shift and work Thursday nights sort yet. It just depends on how the rest of the week play out, really. Because right now, I'm dealing with a bad back. I was at work the other day. I bent over to pick up a box. And when I came back up, it's like something in my back popped. Like I felt 3 different cracks. And it's like them bad boy. It's like my back came up before the bones and stuff in my back or whatever. And then everything else came up afterwards. It was a very interesting feeling. I done pulled my back out at the beginning of the year. Somebody told me once you hurt your back one time, it's over for it. Like you're going to experience back problems the rest of your life. I was told that. And now I'm starting to believe them. I am starting to believe them. But anyways, that health insurance kick in January the 1st. So if we need to, we're going to be in the doctor handling that. Anyways, week 9 in the NFL. It's come. I keep wanting to say it's gone, but it isn't. But we got to break it down. We got to talk about it. First off, though, we had 2 big time catches this week. Two catches that moved me. I was sitting watching the games, and when I saw both of these catches, I was moved. Garrett Wilson's touchdown catch against the Houston Texans. That was huge. His knee. I wanted that to be a catch so bad because of how impressive it was. And when they went back to the replay and showed it in slow motion, his shin getting down before, mind you, I don't even think his whole shin got down in bounds, but I don't care. They counted it as a touchdown. And I appreciate that because that's one of those catches where you like, man, I really want that to be a catch. Like, I really want that to be a catch. And then Devontae Smith had a catch against the Jags yesterday. That was an insane touchdown catch. And it was once again one of those plays where it's like, man, I want this to be a catch. Well, if you're a Jags fan or you was a Houston fan, you didn't want those to be catches. But if you was rooting for those two, the other teams, or had no rooting interest in the fight, you wanted those to be catches. So when they were, I was elated. Because I'm like, This just show you the difference between receivers and DBs. I understand that we had the DB make that play a couple years ago. I can't remember my man's name at the time. He played for the Dolphins, stud cornerback, who made that ridiculous catch a couple years back, one-handed. And we'll probably see some more DBs make crazy catches this year. But my goodness. The catches by those two dudes, I had to talk about those because I didn't want to forget them. But now getting into, because I want to touch up on Thursday Night Football, where the New York Jets beat the Houston Texans at home 13-21. Now, I done seen a lot of people say, oh, fraud alert, Texans are frauds. I don't think the Texans are frauds. For one, so this is such a great way to start the show because we're going to hit on 2 things real quick. Because I want to touch on the people calling the Texans frauds. But I also want to talk about something else. Because you see, I didn't think that the Texans were the second best team in the AFC with the record that they had, because if you watch the Texans play, they don't look better than some of these other AFC. Well, not a lot of them, but to me, I would take the Baltimore Ravens over the Texans right now. I'd take the Chiefs over the Texans right now. Would I take the Bills? I would take the Bills right now over the Texans. Who else? It was one more team who I thought that. I'm still iffy on this team. If this team beat us tomorrow, if Cincinnati beat the Ravens tomorrow, even though I'm not impressed. Matter of fact, I'll get to Cincinnati. Just save off on the Cincinnati one, because I'm gonna get to Cincinnati later on in the show. But because I don't know how quick I'm gonna get to them, but I am gonna get to them. Here's my thing. I think that the Texans are a great team, good team, whichever you want to call it. But it's a different team when you play. No Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs is out for the year. Them two, for one, that's the 1 and the 2 receiver. Two, those are huge difference makers on the team. And I understand some people say, well, Stephon just got there. Does not matter. They are relying on him to be a huge part of that offense. And Nico Collins is Stroud's favorite weapon. So to lose both of those guys and then expect them to immediately the next game to go out there and be the same Houston team that they done been all year or last year, I just think that's insane. Okay. And then when you watch the Houston Texans, I like Houston, but it's flaws within this team to me. For one, Joe Mixon just got back a couple games ago, and I love Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon had a good game against the Jets, but wasn't enough. When you look at when you look at this game the Texans had against the Jets, I really think it's a problem that I've been seeing with the Texans all year. I'm not a super fan of their offensive line. I think their offensive line is shaky. Laramie Tunsil done been called for a lot of flags this year. I just don't think they have a great enough offensive line. But on top of me not thinking that they have a good enough offensive line, I actually don't like the Texans' offensive game plan. Because I couldn't tell you what their offensive game plan actually is. I know you want CJ Stroud to go out there and throw the ball around the park and things of that nature. I get that. And obviously every team's goal is to score points. But my thing is, on a week-to-week basis, how do the Texans game? Like, to me, the Texans don't have the same game plan on a week-to-week basis. And I understand that you play against different defenses on a week-to-week basis, but you should be able to attack every defense. You should have a game plan that's similar. You should have a success. When you are a good team like the Texans, something works. Okay? Whether it just be your players are great players, something is working. Now it's two different things. Oh, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. Something is working to make the Texans great right now. It's easy to just say, oh, it's CJ Stroud, but it's a good amount of good players on this team with good coaching. Now, two things, it's a couple things that can make you a great team, a good team. But two things that I'm focusing on right now is players and scheme. Okay? Because players scheme means players coaches. The scheming is on the coaches and the players play. Now, if you are good because of scheme, sometime, let's say you more good because of scheme than player. That means you probably lack game-changing talent in the areas that you would usually want it in, but the scheme is so great that it can overcome that. Now, let's say you win because of players, but not necessarily scheme. Your players are just a lot of Cincinnati. What you see Cincinnati, they just win because they are more talented than a lot of teams. They have offensive firepower that most defenses can't stop. Now look at a team like the 49ers that win through scheme and talent. They have the talent and they have the scheme. Right now, to me, what's missing from the Texans is a great scheme. As good as I think the offense is at times, I don't think that you can go out there. Like, a lot of times when the Texans get stifled where it just feel like they cannot figure out how to score, and then people immediately say, well, they're not giving Buddy enough time in the pocket. Well, that's a product of bad scheming, in my opinion, when it comes to the Texans, because they do want to throw the ball, and I think they should run the ball. Now, I'm not telling you that they should be a run-first team. That's definitely not what I'm telling you. But they don't have as much, without Joe Mixon back there running the ball, this team really ain't trying to run the ball because Joe Mixon is the running back for them. If they don't have Joe Mixon back there, they probably not going to be a good run team. Last year, they weren't a great run team. They get Joe Mixon in this year. Joe Mixon done been good for him when he done played. My thing with the Texans is I feel as though the Texans have to figure. I think they need a new OC. It's not even that they need a new OC. His game calling got to become a lot better. And this is the early stages of this right now. So one of the teams that I'm consistently calling out for having a bad OC and just not, I don't even like calling these dudes bad, but when a player is bad, you call them bad. So the offensive game plan for the Seattle Seahawks is atrocious to me. They rely so much on talent and dinking, and they rely on talent. To me, that is an OC where if you put Ben Johnson with the Seahawks, that would probably be a 40-point per game offense because of the weapons at his disposal. Whereas the OC right now for the Seattle Seahawks, he not getting it done to me. Because to me, scoring points is not, everybody can score points. It's how you score those points and how consistently you can score a said number of points. The Texans, to me, are not a 30 points a game offense when everybody not healthy. But you got a great quarterback and you still got some pieces. So if you had a scheme in place, it could probably help CJ now that he is void of talent. I'm not a Greg Roman guy, but the one thing I'll give Greg Roman is Lamar's first 2 years when Lamar needed a Greg Roman's scheme got Lamar through a lot that the talent there couldn't get him through because they didn't have the requisite talent. So in that case, you needed a strong scheme that Greg Roman had, but Lamar outgrew that scheme and he needed weapons to work with now. He needed a new offensive play caller. To me, the Texans can take that next step because I didn't really even realize how much I did not really like the OC for the and not like as in like as a person, but the game calling for the Texans to me is not as impressive as some people might think it is. Like to me, it's not as fluid. It's not, and I understand they got guys hurt right now, but I'm thinking about back to the games from last. And I know some people be like, well, you know, Saint he was a rookie. I get all that. However, I'm thinking about how CJ Stroud, because there's games where CJ Stroud does not look like a great quarterback, a special quarterback. And I think that's not CJ Stroud. Because like I said before, every athlete going to struggle. Every athlete going to have a bad game. It just is what it is. When we saw Pat Mahomes go through his stretch of bad games like 3 years ago, Eric Bieniemy fixed the offense so that it could get Pat Mahomes back on track. Because these quarterbacks, these players spend so much time making life easier for the coaches. At some point in time, these great players expect the coaches to make life easier on them sometimes when they ain't got it. This is why I go at the Ravens defense all the time, because it's so very clear that the scheme ain't helping nobody, which is a coaching problem or a coordinator problem. When I say coaches, I'm not just talking about the head coach. I'm talking about DCs, offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, head coach, special teams coordinator. You know, I'm saying more people get paid. But when I look at the Texans, and I still think that the Texans are a great team. Like I think the Texans are going to be there at the end in the playoff hunt. However, well, it's gonna be tough if Nico don't come back soon. But because I think Diggs is out for the year, if I read correctly. Stephon Diggs is done for the year. That's tragic. But if you are the Houston Texans, and not to mention, defense is really... You see, this is the thing that's always weird to me. People sometimes be like, well, running teams' defenses just got to stop that run and force them to pass. Well, what about teams that really only throw the ball and not good at running, and they need to be able to run the ball against certain teams, but they just can't? To me, if I was the Texans, depending on how long Nico is out, I would probably go out and try to make a trade for a receiver. Not like some big time name receiver that's gonna cost a lot of picks and things like that. But they do need another weapon on this offense to help take some of the pressure off of Joe Mixon, because I imagine with the injuries that they done suffered at receiver, they're going to try to run the ball a little bit more. This would just be such a different scenario if, to me, they had a better OC, to be honest. Because the game against the Jets, they both look like bad teams to me. Now, the Jets, excuse me. The interesting thing about the Jets, I cannot remember the running back's name, but he dropped the ball walking into the end zone for a touchdown. He dropped the ball before he crossed the end zone, and it ended up being a touchback because the ball went out the back of the end zone. So anytime you see a play like that, a player make a play like that, it's very interesting. But very interesting. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around who started this shit where players run into the end zone and they just drop it right before they get in there. Like, why is that even a celebration to drop the ball before you actually get all the way in there? I don't know. That's interesting to me. Like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, this shit is not leaving my hand till I'm like I gotta be damn near out the back of the end zone before this ball leave my hand, just to make sure that it's a touchdown. I never seen people be this lackadaisical about scoring touchdowns or securing the ball and whatnot. So that's interesting to me. But when I was watching the Jets against the Texans that night, the worst part for the Texans is how bad the game looked throughout the entire game. And you expected, being the better team, that you were going to get it together at some point in time, even with the injuries. And instead, it was the Packers it was the Jets that ended up ultimately pulling away in this game. That's a tough watch if you're a Texans fan, especially the way this game was going. But amazing catch by Garrett Wilson in this game. I just think that the problem that ultimately killed the Texans at the end of this game, because I don't even think it was the Texans' defense just being bad. I mean, they only gave up 21 points. Well, they gave up more than that, but one of them didn't count. And a lot of dudes was going down that Thursday night game too. Like, a lot of injuries, a lot of dudes going in and out of the games and whatnot. So it's not like this was like, these Thursday night games always feel kind of funny, don't they? But the Houston, as I'm watching Houston, I'm just thinking to myself, man, a better OC would take this team to another level. Because even when they had everybody healthy, I thought this offense could still be better. And it's not a quarterback issue. See, sometimes I see these teams and I'm like, yo, this team is not as good as it should be because of the quarterback, i.e. the Seattle Seahawks. This ain't that. This is not a quarterback issue with C.J. Stroud. Plus, I think some people forget at times, C.J. Stroud is still in year 2. As great as he was as a rookie, it's still things that C.J. Stroud is learning himself. So, and not to mention the Houston, I got to go back and look at it. But if I'm remembering off the top of my dome correctly, Houston haven't really even been that impressive to me. They done played against some favorable matchups this year. I'm interested to see Houston when they get into the Bills games. No, they played the Bills. I'm wilding. But they played the Bills before the Bills ended up getting Amari Cooper, even though Cooper didn't play yesterday. And they almost lost that game against the Bills. I'm interested. They play the Ravens later on this year. I believe they play the Chiefs later on this year. I'm excited to see them playing games like that. You know, seeing them kind of struggle against some of these bad teams, and it's not even necessarily that they're struggling against the bad teams. They can't figure out how to get their offense jump started most of the time and keep it going. Like, they shouldn't have to rely on a big throw down the field by CJ. They should be able to. And CJ is a good quarterback. So, yeah, I just think it's the. And I know some Texans fans will say, no, saying it's the injuries. It's not coaching, it's the injuries. We shall see. We shall see. If your coordinator is bad, if the offense is bad as soon as you lose talent, I understand it being bad the first week. I understand it being possibly being bad week 2. But if you have a good enough offensive coordinator, he should be, and you have a great quarterback, it's no excuse. Maybe it's an excuse when you go play against the Ravens or the Bengals or the Chiefs or the Bills. It's no excuse when you play against a team. And I understand people say, well, you know, the Jets got a lot of talent. The Jets been doing a lot of losing this season, man. I'm not excusing that, just like I didn't excuse the Ravens losing to the Browns. You got to win these type of games. It is what it is. And I'm the type of person who says, you know, I don't really like it when people be like, you know, any given Sunday. No, it's not any given Sunday. If the team that's supposed to win goes out there and does their job, I don't care how good the other team do their job. If the favorite does their job, they usually win the game. We keep saying in any given Sunday or, in sports, anything can happen. Usually it doesn't. Usually the favorite wins. And a lot of times when the underdog wins, is that a true underdog, or is that the underdog just because we think the other team is better? Is it really? Because sometimes we call teams that are actually great teams underdogs, and I never understand that shit. Or you don't like somebody, so you call a good team an underdog, even though they might be just as good as the opposing. It's a weird thing. People hated the Warriors and called them stacked. Nobody ever had a problem with the Showtime Lakers. Nobody ever had a problem with all the other stacked teams throughout the history of the NBA or the history of football. Like, it's a weird thing to me. Anyways, looking at the Jets in this game, the win didn't move me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was happy for Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna be honest. One of the things that I think about when I watch the Jets now is this guy Devontae Adams, bro. And Devontae Adams still a great player. You saw him make some shit shake. You saw him just embarrass one of the corners for Houston. But I don't really know. You want to know what's interesting to me about the Jets? As I look at the Jets, so the Jets is clearly a leadership and coaching problem, in my opinion. And when I say leadership, that ain't just me going at Aaron Rodgers. That's me going at the whole team. I think the Jets have a leadership problem, and they just have the Jets are just organizationally bad. Like you couldn't really pinpoint one thing, but if you kept pinpointing different things, I would probably say, yep. You know what I'm saying? So you can't just say, oh, it's just this one thing. I think it's a multitude of things. I just think the Jets they're just a bad team right now. And I was seeing somebody talk about Carolina the other day and how Carolina is so far away from being a good team again. I kind of think that the Jets ain't too far behind them. And this is why. Aaron Rodgers is not trying to tank. What use would tanking do? What would tanking do for Aaron Rodgers right now? Going out on his last year, his career, winning 4 or 5 games? That's not, I'm not going to tell you that's not going to happen. But what I am telling you is that's not something that he is striving for. Meaning the Jets organization ain't striving for that. So, and I know a lot of Jets fans won't tell you the truth because a lot of the people in the media are Jets fans. However, Aaron Rodgers will probably retire at the end of the year. Devontae Adams, I don't know if his contract is up at the end of the season. I believe it is. But you'll probably have to figure out what to do with him because he's not going to want to be there if Aaron Rodgers isn't there. We know this. We saw the shit he just did with when he went from Green Bay to, mind you, this nigga didn't want to play with Jordan Love, but he wanted to go play with Derek fucking Carr. The same Derek Carr that Michael Thomas, former Saints receiver, is going at on, former teammate of Derek Carr's, is going at on Twitter. Now, that personal issue that Derek Carr has to do with Michael Thomas ain't got shit to do with Devontae Adams. But my whole thing being, Derek Carr is not a quarterback that we talk about as, oh, that's a Super Bowl. That's a quarterback that can get you to the Super Bowl. That's a quarterback that could get you far. No. We talk about Derek Carr's faith. We talk about his relationship with Michael Thomas now. And a lot of other things. And that's who he wanted to go play with. And now, after his first year in Vegas, they got rid of Derek Carr, which I don't understand how he didn't see the writings on the wall before he got there. And this is why I say some of these organizations just make no sense, because I understand trying to get better. I definitely understand trying to get better. If Vegas wanted to get rid of Derek Carr and didn't get rid of him when they should have, and then you go trade for Devontae Adams, how? Knowing that he only wanted to go to Vegas because he wanted to play with Derek Carr, why would you even? Now, they probably didn't know he was going to be the headache that he turned into for them after the Derek Carr situation, but that's a Adams problem. Bro, have you not seen Derek Carr's career and with the Raiders up to that point that you wanted to be traded there? That's on you. And then you get traded there. He ended up getting shipped out the last year, after your first year there. Now you got no quarterback. Now you disgruntled. You said you didn't want to stay in Green Bay because you didn't want to rebuild. You wanted to chase a ring. Green Bay closer to a ring than both of the teams you went to since leaving them. Green Bay, while Jordan Love is having an interception problem at times, he getting hurt a lot this year. Jordan Love is the better quarterback right now than Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr and whoever the hell else you play with in Vegas. It's interesting to me that you didn't want to get traded back to Green Bay. Now, Green Bay probably wouldn't have wanted him back on that type of contract they would have had to give him. Mind you, they got a lot of weapons right now who they feel like they feel like they don't need a receiver. However, every time I see Davante Adams, I can't stop thinking about this. It ain't dumb decision making based off a monetary gain because he getting paid handsomely. But when you say you want to win, I don't understand how these two moves correlate to wanting to win. I guess that's where I'm confused at. Because if a receiver tells me he's trying to win a Super Bowl, the last two places I would think he would head to is the Raiders when he went to the Raiders and the Jets when he went to the Jets. Like, to me, neither of them make any type of sense. We'll probably be doing this Davante Adams shit again this summer or next season because I believe Rodgers will retire. And so then the Jets will have this on their hands again. And then Garrett Wilson will get interested because the whole thing is, like I just said, Aaron Rodgers is not trying to tank. He ain't trying to get you a first pick in the draft. Meaning, you further away from getting a franchise quarterback of the future, just like the Panthers. And the Panthers are closer to getting it because they could just tank. They got no legendary player at the quarterback position that's trying to go out on the shield. They don't even give a damn about Bryce Young. They threw him in there so Andy Dalton wouldn't get hurt. A nigga who done played through his whole career at this point. I'm not the biggest fan of the Panthers head coach. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But my biggest thing is Aaron Rodgers will probably be gone. You're going to have to deal with this fiasco with Davante Adams again. What does this do for the young players on your team? The Sauce Gardners, the Garrett Wilsons, the Breece Halls, who I don't even know if Breece Hall will be there for the long run, to be honest with you, with how up and down he done been this year. With the Quinnen Williams, the CJ Mosley not young no more, but the talent, the level of talent, Reed, like you got so much talent on this team, and every single year you are paying these dudes a lot of money for nothing. Because you haven't sat down and went through a legitimate game, created a legitimate game. And listen, people fail. Things fail. Zach Wilson failed. That's okay. What you do after that situation failed is how you should be judged. And I don't think going out and getting Aaron Rodgers was a great bounce back. I don't. I never thought that they were winning the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I thought they would be competitive with him. They haven't even really been that. And so instead of last year, when you basically just was ass, you could have tried to tank and get a quarterback to bring in for after Rodgers, to sit on the bench to prepare him to play after Rodgers. That's what you should want to do anyways after the Zach Wilson experiment. But you didn't do that. You just keep bringing in pieces that you feel like will help Rodgers right now. And I understand the try to win right now mentality. I talked about it with the Rams, but look at how the Rams went about it. Look at how the Jets went about it. Both of them already had great pieces on the team. But organizations, coaching, it makes a difference. And I'm not trying to go at Rob Saleh, but he clearly ain't Sean McVay. I'm not trying to go at the higher ups in New York, but clearly they are not the higher ups in LA. It's very obvious. I can't even remember our GM's name in LA. I know his name. I just can't remember it at the moment. But I just think when I heard this analyst say that the Panthers are further away from being like they don't have a shot in hell of being successful over the next couple years or even being like a good team, I literally thought that about the Jets. The Jets could legitimately be over the next couple years a great team. Well, a bad team with a lot of great players on it. I truly believe if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers right now, not only would they not have went and tried to make a trade for Devontae, I think they would have traded away some of the players on this defense so that they could start building up draft capital in order to go actually get a quarterback. And this is my one thing. A lot of people keep saying, well, all they need is a quarterback. They're just a quarterback away. How easy do you think it is getting a quarterback? Because people keep saying that shit like it's just something that they could just fall upon. Like that's not something you actually have to every year that it's a great quarterback in a draft, or quarterbacks that people have high promise on. Those teams that think they have a chance to get that quarterback, they start to make plans and concessions and go all out to make sure they get that quarterback. And we hear halfway through the season that they already plan on getting that quarterback and different things they're trying to do to put in position to set up that quarterback for success. But for some reason, the Jets think they too good to do that or something. Because it's as if they think Aaron Rodgers is 25 or something like that. I don't get it. But that's the Jets. I will say, after watching the Los Angeles Dodgers win the World Series against the Jets in that Game 5 with that fifth inning was amazing. And I tweeted going in, like, you could, matter of fact, I should, I haven't done it at the time of recording, but now I'm finna probably screenshot the tweet. I just don't want nobody thinking the boy lying. But then again, I could care less if people think I'm lying. Anyways, I tweeted at the end of the fourth inning, because I was locked in. At the end of the fourth inning, as we was finna head to the top of the fifth, I tweeted, this is the inning where we get back in this game. I tweeted that. Not really knowing, having no real feel. I just said to myself, it's the fifth inning. We don't want this to get too late. This is the inning where we got to come through. So I tweeted, this is the inning where we get back in this game. Little did I know that was the inning we was actually going to tie the motherfucking game with all the errors made by the Yankees. I think Volpe made a throwing error. It's hard for me to blame Jazz Chisholm for that. I understand some people will be like, well, Jazz should have scooped that. He's not a third baseman. So it's really, he not Nolan Arenado, Manny Machado over there. Judge's error was crazy because he looked off. He looked at first to look the run to see if the runner was going to try to run, which was a weird thing. Like, I don't understand. I almost feel like after replaying the whole situation and talking about it in my head, man, Judgy, it kind of feel like you was throwing there, buddy. And I'm a big Aaron Judge guy. All rise. However, and shout out to Giancarlo Stanton. Just an absolute fucking stud throughout the entire World Series. People forget about them MVP days from Giancarlo in Miami. Not me, John. Not me, Giancarlo. Not me, buddy. Y'all know Giancarlo wasn't even his name at first. He changed his name to Giancarlo Stanton. Anyways, I think his original name was Mike Stanton or something like that. I got to go back and look at why he changed his. I'm glad he changed his name because Giancarlo is way better. But shout out to Giancarlo Stanton on a phenomenal World Series and really a phenomenal playoff. He was the best Yankee throughout the entire playoffs, which is really very funny because Yankee fans spend the entire year going at Giancarlo Stanton, and he coincidentally was your best player throughout the playoffs. So, very interesting. And I know Yankee fans going to want to take credit for that. Well, we didn't push him the way man, shut the fuck up. Anyways, that fifth inning was a doozy. But we got it done. I root for the right people. I just realized that. Like, Mookie Betts is my favorite player in baseball. Of course, Mookie gets the third World Series championship. I've been rocking with Freddie Freeman. Now, this is the weird one. I cannot even tell you. I don't remember what made me start rocking with Frederick Freeman. His name Freddie Freeman. I call him Frederick. I couldn't tell you what made me start rocking with him because I was rocking with him before he got to the Dodgers. And I told you, I'm a bit of a fit. Now, I'm no longer a Philly fan, but I watched the Phillies and was rooting for them a little bit. a lot over my lifetime because I grew up watching them in the Dodgers and the Yankees. I never was a Yankee fan, but I always respected the Yankees because I grew up watching them, and Derek Jeter, one of my favorite players of all time. It's just like I grew up watching the Red Sox. I'm not a Red Sox fan, but I love Big Papi, Dustin Pedroia, Manny Ramirez, even though Manny Ramirez, I know Pedro and all those studs that played for Ellsbury, Kevin Youkilis. Like I used to watch a lot of baseball growing up, and so I know a lot of the baseball players that play when I play. But anyways, I got distracted. Shout out to the Dodgers. I don't know how, like I was saying, Freddie Freeman became one of my favorite players. Because you would think no, you wouldn't think this if you knew me. Just because I root for I love the Dodgers. Nothing is going to make me hate Fernando Tatis, Jurickson Profar, and Manny Machado. For one, I've been rooting for Manny Machado since he was in Baltimore. So that's never going to change. I'm going to always root for Manny Machado. But me having a team does not stop me from rooting for other players and things like that in baseball or in no sport. I don't hate players just because I be seeing people do that shit. Like, oh, since I root for this team, I hate that player. That player must be a bad person. Yo, shut the fuck up. You taking this fandom way too serious. Way too serious. These niggas do not pay y'all bills. And I promise you they don't think of y'all niggas when they go home at night. Like, y'all niggas is wildin'. And most of these dudes be homies. So the way fans feel like they should, like the fan that Mookie a better man than me. Because if I'm Mookie Betts and I go up for that foul ball, and you got not only this one fan grabbing my glove trying to yoink it open, but the second fan that's grabbing my whole ass other arm trying to prevent me from getting, bro, both of y'all niggas getting hit, bro. Dead ass. The NFL, one of you niggas is coming down there with me. One of you niggas is getting yanked down to the field. Cause I'm fighting one of you niggas. Like, one of you niggas is getting some. I'm not gonna finish this game. The World Series would have immediately went out of my mind in that game. Cause one of you niggas is getting your ass beat tonight. No two ways around it. And the fact that the Yankees was gonna allow these niggas to come back the next game, and the fact that MLB didn't get rid of these niggas, period, it makes sense though. These are season fan holders, I believe I read. So why would the Yankees try to get rid of two of their season ticket holders? Even though they could probably replace those two season ticket holders with two other people who want to be season ticket holders. Why would they do that? This not a random fan that came. This is somebody who always giving us money. So I see how they think about things like that. But shout out to the LA Dodgers. Shout out to Frederick Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Walker Buehler closing that bitch out. Who else we got? My boy Kike Hernandez balled out. Oh, first off, fuck Max Muncy. Fuck Will Smith. Fuck Gavin Lux. All of these dudes took key walks in that fifth game. That's basically all they did for us this series. Max Muncy was god awful in this series. Now, I know some people don't watch baseball, so you might not know who Max Muncy is. And that's all right. But Max Muncy struck out like 11 times in this series. With I thought, 16 or something at bats? Max Muncy was basically playing for the other team. Then you had Gavin Lux, who, he and Will Smith, automatic outs. Like, you can argue they wasn't as automatic as Max Muncy, but they were just as automatic outs as Max Muncy. Shohei Ohtani didn't even have a good series. But Shohei Ohtani is always going to play a part because they are scared of what Shohei can do. So Shohei played his part. Plus, Shohei had a bad shoulder, bro. For all you other niggas, no excuses. Freddie Freeman out there playing on a bum ankle and what they said, bum ribs. Mookie coming back from his injury, trying to, He balling out. Mind you, the expectation on Mookie and Freddie way higher than the expectations on these other niggas who didn't show up. Kike Hernandez probably had nobody had any expectation of him to be great except for Dodger fans, and he played great. Kike is not getting paid more, and I don't like bringing up people's money, but when you think about the line of great Dodgers that's currently on the team, like the best players on the team, nobody is putting Kike Hernandez over. Last year, you probably wouldn't have put him over Gavin Lux, or a year before that, but who is most of the time people's taking Lux, Smith, and Muncy over Kike. I wouldn't take none of the three. Not over Kike. Kike done been good in the playoffs for the Dodgers every time. Both World Series, he was great in both. Teoscar Hernandez. He just got here. Can a guy have a better one season with a team, like a prove it season? He won the home run derby, helped them win the World Series with big hit after big hit throughout the playoffs. He had highs in damn near all his statistical categories. Teoscar Hernandez was phenomenal. Phenomenal teammate. Phenomenal player. Came through with big hit after big hit. Like, I can't say it enough. He had so many big hits throughout this playoff series. That's what you needed. Because Max Muncy, Gavin Lux, and Will Smith decided not to show up. So the other guy who had to come to the party with Mookie and Freddie didn't even play in that San Diego series, really. You got to have other guys show up. So shout out to Kike. Shout out to Teoscar. Max Muncy actually had a good series against the Mets. Was it the Mets or the Padres? He had a good series against one of them two teams. Doesn't matter. You didn't have a good series when it mattered the most, buddy. And that was in the World Series when all the chips were on the line. All right. Shout out to Giancarlo Stanton. Your team lost, but you had a hell of a series, my boy. You did everything you could have did. You did everything you could have possibly done. If your homie had showed up to the party earlier than game fucking 5, you might have had a shot. Not to mention, he showed up to the party, niggas still helped y'all lose game 5. You know, because it almost feel like Judge was throwing. Judge, why would you be looking that off, bro, instead of looking that ball in and catching it? That nigga is not running from first to second base on your fucking arm. On a fly out, like a pop-up, you think he, like a simple little fly out like that, you think he finna run on your arm from first to second and you right there. Kind of shit is that? I'm not gonna lie to you, Aaron. It feel kind of throwy-ish. But I'm not gonna accuse you of that. I would never accuse you of that. But the streets is saying, you know. A lot of Yankee fans thought they was going to get 29. You're going to have to settle for 28. It's a lot of Yankee fans who keep, because the pitcher, Joe Kelly, keep talking trash. I see a Yankee fan who keep getting on Twitter tweeting about Joe Kelly's stats. And I just had to tell him today, like, bro, you tweeting his stats is not going to change the fact that he is a 2-time World Series champion. You could talk about how he pitched bad throughout the season, didn't pitch throughout the postseason. He was still on the team that beat your team, meaning he is a champion again, and it was against the Yankees. I hope all that helps you sleep at night, buddy. Anyways, like I said, shout out to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Back to New York in this Houston game real quick, because the message that I was trying to get through when I talked about how, because you see, the people who were calling the Texans frauds, even though they clearly dealing with injuries and different things like that. Now, I understand the people who say, I don't see enough out of Texas still, even though I don't think they're frauds, but I don't think they're as good as they could be offensively, or maybe you think they could be better defensively. That's completely different from calling them frauds. But this is what I would like to say. Readjust your expectations. This is the problem. To correlate, look at the Denver Broncos coming into this game against the Ravens. Now you got people calling them frauds. Oh, the defense ain't legit. They frauds. They just got blasted by the Ravens. But then I would like to take you back to last year when the Lions was coming into this game against the Ravens on a high. And they got blasted by the Ravens. The Seahawks came in last year on a high. They got blasted by the Ravens. You see, the difference is expectation. Once you adjust your expectation to more realistic expectations, then these things don't happen. So coming into this game, everybody was talking about how the defense was so great. The defense was so great. But one of the things that I always tell y'all about defenses, and this is why I was so up in arms when people were calling Houston frauds, because it's just a difference. And it's ways that you can know if a team, this unit, or just a team is or not what you think they are. Listen, the Denver Broncos, who's all I done heard about is how great the defense is, The last 4 weeks, they beat the Panthers, they beat the Saints, they lost to the Chargers, they beat the Raiders. Well, that's the last 5 weeks if you don't. That's the 4 weeks before they get to the game against the Ravens. Now, why do you bring that up, Saint? Well, I bring it up because the same way I brought up the Cincinnati Bengals wins. They beat Bryce Young, Spencer Rattler. Derek Carr wasn't even playing that game. That's not much of an upgrade, but they lose to Justin Herbert. And they beat Garner Minshew, or whoever started in that game for the Raiders. That's who the Denver defense got to put up stats against. I'm not sitting here telling you that Denver don't have a good defense. I'm not sitting here telling you that Denver don't have a defense that can stop teams in here and there. What I am telling you is Denver did not. It's no way you could have known how great Denver's defense was for the simple reason Denver hadn't played against an explosive. They played against the Bucks. I'm not impressed by beating the Bucks. I told you already. Baker Mayfield and them NFC quarterbacks don't do anything for me. If you really wanted to know how great this Denver defense is, look at what they do against great quarterbacks and great offenses. Offenses that's not offensively challenged. Offenses that go out there with a game plan on a week-to-week basis. That's the reason I did not jump on the Denver Broncos. And this is the thing. Because I don't think Denver's defense is frauds. They just ran into Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. A type of offense they haven't had to play this year. That's completely different than the teams that you got to play. Which is why it's hard for me to tell you the best defenses in the NFL all the time, because you got to look at who these teams play. Now, sometimes you can look at a defense and clearly see the talent is there, the discipline is there. They attack the ball. They don't give up the big plays. Things like that can definitely tell you what a great defense is. I'm not discounting that. But nowadays, these defenses, to me, it's very rare that to me, the best defense in the NFL is Kansas City. They are the only defense. They are the defense to me with the least amount of flaws. Aside from that, I really think and even Kansas City's defense can be had. To me, that's just the hardest one to beat. But aside from them, it's not really a defense in the NFL that I look at and I say to myself, this is a defense that's impenetrable. This is one of them back in the day defenses where they don't give up runs. They don't give up the pass. They locked in. I don't see that with most of these defenses, which is why it's hard for me to consistent. I always look at teams and say to myself, going up against this defense, I don't judge a team based off of a defense's rankings and shit like that. It's always matchups to me. Denver playing against, I think Denver's defense matches up well against Kansas City. Now, I still think they're going to lose that game, but they do match up well against Kansas City. They don't match up well against Baltimore. To me, they don't match up well against Cincinnati. It's teams that they won't match up well against that they might match up well. And I don't think it's a bad defense. For one, Denver's defense is playing against top-tier quarterbacks more often than those teams in the NFC. You're going to always have to remember that when it comes to these AFC teams. They play against tougher competition, usually, than the NFC. So this is definitely not me shitting on Denver's defense. I would take Denver's defense over a lot of them NFC defenses because most of the NFC defenses to me suck. But when you look at Cincinnati, when you look at what the Ravens just did to the Broncos, I don't think that the Broncos defense is ass. The Broncos defense just got done playing Bryce Young, Spencer Rattler, and whoever the hell suited up for the Raiders. That's the difference. When you can play against bad teams, you played against the Jets when they were struggling. When you play against these bad teams or these bad offenses specifically, that can do a lot for a defense. It just is what it is. It seemed to be the only defense in the NFL that legitimately will make a bad offense look good is the Ravens defense, but I digress. So I don't think that the Denver Broncos are frauds. After the game they had against the Ravens, I just think that's a different type of animal that you got to play against. That's why I always say Dak Prescott, the reason I know how to break down Dak is because throughout his career, I watched him play against quarterbacks who might be middle of the pack quarterbacks, who might be just as good as these 10 quarterbacks. But then I watched him play against them top 4 quarterbacks, or them quarterbacks that we think is top 5 guys, and he never beat them, even when he had the talent around him. Couldn't do shit with him. He didn't uphold his end of the bargain like they usually upheld theirs. Defenses, when they got to play against middle of the road quarterback, or now they got to play up against a superstar quarterback, and they might play good against him, but he make the key plays that beat them ultimately. Key plays that other average quarterbacks wouldn't have made. That's the difference. That's the difference in quarterback. And so that's why I don't really get, this defense is number one, this defense, and who really cares? It's a matchup to matchup type of thing. I don't know that we are in a league anymore where one defense can stop every team that they play all year, or one defense is built to like I said, the Chiefs is the closest to me right now, but every other defense can be had. Like, I don't know what defense could stop the Lions from putting up about 30 something points right now, because I think they could put up 30 on the Chiefs defense. They struggle. The difference is the Lions at their best could drop that, but the Lions at their worst could not. And that's what you got to think of. I know that sounds crazy. If the Chiefs have a rocky game from Pat Mahomes, the defense still going to be there. That's just how it's been the last 2-3 years. I'm thinking about the ugly games that Pat Mahomes have that he still can figure out ways to win, because he Pat fucking Mahomes. I don't see that with Jared Goff. If Jared Goff and his offense don't have a great day, they probably getting their asses beat by the Chiefs. It's going to be a couple turnovers. And even now, I actually respect to the Detroit Lions, because I'm actually starting to gain a little bit more respect. I do not think that they are a good defensive team, but they are offensively. It's all there. However, I still don't think that this is a team that can't be stopped. I just think when they're playing, really what it is them 2 running backs, Gibbs and Montgomery. If they can run the air out the ball and play and keep the Lions above the chains and whatnot, yeah, this will be a tough team to stop, because they go to Ben Johnson's scheme. That's why I say Jared Goff just looked like he did with the Rams. Jared Goff has been very fortunate to have 2 guru of offensive game callers with the weapons around him. The interesting thing to me about Jared Goff conversation is the MVP. People keep calling him MVP. Oh, I think he MVP over Lamar. I saw somebody say today. How? I'm just baffled by the fact that every time I turn around, somebody is bitching and complaining, oh, Lamar got Derrick Henry. The man never had a game-changing weapon on his team before, but now it's a problem. Now his MVP status is getting called into question. Meanwhile, Jared Goff has a plethora of weapons at his disposal. I ain't heard not one person say, I don't know if we can get Jared Goff MVP, man. Look at all the talent he got surrounding him. I ain't heard not one time, if you take Montgomery, Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and all those other studs off of that team, Jared Goff will still be able to carry him. Because, see, I seen what Lamar can do without the talent around him. I also seen what Jared Goff do without talent around him. 2 stark differences. But for some reason, Jared Goff is an MVP candidate. This is why the white media is so fucking annoying. So fucking annoying. I like Jared Goff. Jared Goff's not an MVP. I think that the confusion with these analysts who don't like it when certain players win MVP have started convoluting the conversation. Every time Lamar Jackson won MVP, he deserved it. This fallacy that his defense is what's getting him wins and carrying him is just fucking stupid. But I understand people are not going to go back and watch games, and people probably won't start actually watching the full games. So I'm not finna sit here and argue with niggas about that. But this lie that's been perpetuated that Lamar needed his defense is just not true. You take Lamar Jackson off of any of these Raven teams, they are a bottom of the league team. You take the talent at the disposal of Jared Goff off of his team, they are a bottom of the league team. It's not losing Jared Goff that'll hurt the Lions. It's losing all that talent around them. It's not losing the talent that'll hurt the Ravens. It's losing Lamar Jackson. That's as simple as I can explain it for you. You lose Pat Mahomes, none of this other shit matters. You lose Chris Jones and some of these other dudes, it'll hurt. You still got Pat Mahomes. You still have the cornerstone species of your team. So that's my annoyance when niggas bring up, oh, Jared Goff the MVP. But then niggas will say, well, I don't know if it's Lamar. He got Derrick Henry, my nigga. Jared Goff got 2 running backs, damn near 3 receivers. His tight end is hurt right now. No, Tommy Laporta is not hurt. Is Tommy Laporta hurt? You know who I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about his last tight end he had that's hurt right now. What's my man's name? Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson. He played for the Vikings now. He was hurt. He is hurt. But yeah, they still got Laporta. They got a great offensive line. They got one of the better offensive lines in football. Probably like a top 3, top 4 offensive line. And they got the best play caller in football in Ben Johnson in a lot of people's minds. Now, I give it to Ben Johnson for the simple reason, as much as I love Todd Monken, you still have Lamar Jackson at your disposal. Like, I'm not taking nothing away from Todd. Todd has been an unbelievable play caller, and I'm going to praise him later on in the show. But I do have to give it to Ben Johnson because Jared Goff ain't no fucking Lamar Jackson. So it's really as simple as that. But anyways, Dallas ended up losing to Atlanta in Atlanta 21-27. Jerry Jones said he still had faith in this Cowboys team afterwards. So that's an interesting comment. But the biggest thing with this game to me is interesting is that Atlanta damn near lost this game 27-21 with all the injuries that the Cowboys are having, with Dak Prescott going down late in this game. Very interesting that Atlanta still barely pulled this one out, because I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Atlanta is going to lose either in the wild card or in the first round right now. Like, I understand they done beat. For one, they better pray that Baker and them boys don't get their weapons back. But Atlanta's defense, to me, now they didn't have a bad showing against Dallas because Dallas got so many injuries. But I don't like Atlanta's defense damn near at all, really. To be honest, like they will let teams score. But it's this offense for me, man. Like I know Sam Darnold. I know that Kirk Cousins is putting up some good numbers when you look at his stats and whatnot. I still kind of feel like this offense ain't really taking off. And you know what it is? The problem with looking at an offense like this is knowing that if they had Lamar, if they had Burrow, if they had Allen, if they had Mahomes, if they had Hurt, just looking at this offense, it's just quarterbacks who I know if I plug them into this offense, they'd be putting up way better numbers and more points than what Kirk Cousins is doing right now. And I'm not telling you that Kirk Cousins is playing bad. But what I am telling you is it just don't feel like this Atlanta team is where I thought it would be at this point. And I understand they got a good record. I understand they first in the NFC South. I understand all that. Granted, one team in the NFC South has not won after winning week 2 in the Saints. And then the other one is the Panthers, who we thought would be in last place right now, but they are not. That is the Saints, who just fired Dennis Allen. Thought they was going to fire him at the end of last year. They chose to keep him. I don't know what they saw from him that made them think, yeah, we should bring Dennis Allen back at the next year, especially once all his players basically went against him and rocked with Jameis Winston. I just don't understand bringing Dennis Allen back. I don't know what he showed you in those first season or the second one that made you say, yeah, Dennis Allen is the head coach. Especially my biggest problem, you fire him late in the season. Shit, you should have just let the nigga finish the season. Anyways, I'm kind of worried for Atlanta. Not in the sense that they should be worried about their division, because they shouldn't be. I think they will win the division. However, I don't think they're good enough to beat the Lions right now. I think the Lions could put up damn near 50 points on the Falcons defense. If the 49ers get healthy, I think they could run through Atlanta. See, the biggest thing with Atlanta right now is Kirk Cousins. Because they don't have a defense, to me, that's going to be a defense that scares any of those top offenses in the NFC. Now it's going to be about your offense being able to put up points against these other offenses. Can you outscore the Green Bay offense? Can you outscore the Lion offense? Can you outscore, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to be. It ain't going to be about stops. You just going to have to pray that your defense get big stops when they matter the most. But for the most part, you're going to have to outscore some motherfuckers. And I do not know if I do know. Right now, I don't trust Atlanta to be able to outscore none of them motherfuckers. I don't. Vegas was in Cincinnati. They end up losing that game 24-41. A lot of people, you want to know what's annoying to me? Niggas like Dan Orlovsky. Because you see, a nigga like Dan Orlovsky who keep hyping up all Cincinnati's wins, which all of them have been against teams under 500. They have yet to beat a team over 500 this season. What people is banking on is that Thursday night the Ravens have a letdown, so they can finally say, oh, the Bengals is a good team. They the team that we've been waiting to show up all season. And I got a problem with that, because the Bengals have yet to beat a good team. I don't think they're going to win Thursday night. To me, it could be a shootout. They will more than, I tell you every time we play them, Jamar Chase will probably have a big game. Not probably. Jamar Chase will have a big game. And, you know, for all the complaints I hear about this Cincinnati defense, Trey Hendrickson, once again, double-digit sacks on the season. Ravens ain't got a player in double-digit sacks. What, I think Justin Nnamdi Metabuke had it last year. Before that, I couldn't tell you the last time somebody, Terrell Suggs probably. Like, and then I'm looking at the Ravens pass defense that's worse than Cincinnati's pass defense, but I keep hearing niggas complain about Joe Burrow ain't got no help. I'm confused. See, that's the shit that make me upset every week. Niggas just constantly getting on TV trying to defend Joe Burrow, the White Knight. Lamar Jackson's defense ass. I done seen Pat Mahomes win a Super Bowl with an ass defense. So what are we doing right now? He got pass rushes. His defense ain't worse than the Ravens defense. Like, I understand white people gonna love that. White analysts and a favorite white quarterback is a deadly combo for the rest of niggas with any type of common sense. I'm gonna just tell you that right now, because the way Dan Orlovsky get on TV every day and take Joe Burrow's nutsack and firmly place it down his throat for the world to see, is just extracurricular activity, the likes of which I have never seen. But we continue to move on. Washington ended up beating the Giants in New York 27-22. That was an interesting game. I don't understand why the Ravens haven't went and tried to trade for one of these Giants pass rushers. I don't. I'm not saying go trade for Dexter Lawrence, but the Giants got like 3 to 4, really like 4 legit pass rushers who can go get after the quarterback. I am not understanding why they went and got Deontay Johnson instead of going out. Well, Deontay Johnson basically cost them nothing to get, so I do understand that. I don't understand who was running shit over there with the Carolina Panthers. The fact that you gave away Deontay Johnson for basically nothing is insane to me, but nonetheless, the New York Giants have like 4 pass rushers. I understand they ain't trading Dexter Lawrence, but bro, I don't understand what the Ravens is doing. We need a pass rusher. The fact that they look at this pass rush on a weekly basis, see these niggas not get no pressure on quarterbacks when they need to, and they just move on from week to week is insane to me. Eric DeCosta, for all the dick sucking that you Nick Raven fans do for this nigga, he is not a good GM to me. Like, I don't understand why on a year-to-year basis, this nigga make one good move and everybody praise this nigga. The best move this nigga done ever made in his career as the Ravens GM is re-signing Lamar Jackson, which he took his sweet ass time doing that. Nigga had to play out his entire rookie contract, something that none of these other white quarterbacks had to do, but the Ravens made Lamar Jackson do it. That's why it's always hard for me to believe the Ravens when they talk, say, oh, because they benefiting off of Lamar. Oh, no doubt. They done made a lot of money off of Lamar Jackson, but didn't want to pay him the money that he earned and deserved. Because what you paying Lamar now is not even his market value, to be completely honest with you. Niggas like Lamar, Mahomes, Josh Allen, they don't make nowhere near what they should be. Nigga like Cam Newton, how he was carrying Carolina, it's not even just how he carried Carolina. He was the face of the Carolina Panthers, and not just the Carolina Panthers. Everybody in that motherfucking area loved Cam Newton. He was changing football in that area. That's how Lamar and Pat Mahomes is to their organizations. They worth far more than what you could pay them. But you sat around and made that nigga wait that long. Disgusted. And then Eric DeCosta bringing in Derrick Henry, bro. I don't know why the Titans didn't trade this nigga at the end of last year or at the deadline last year, knowing good and damn well you was just going to let him walk at the end of this year. I mean, at the end of last year. Is insane to me. You chose to lose him for nothing rather than trade him for something. I will never understand that. As a franchise, when you know this player ain't coming back, we not going to try to bring him back. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't understand it. But, and who's to say this thing would have worked out the way it's working out right now for the Ravens if they had to trade it for Derrick Henry last year? Who knows? That's just me saying that to try to make because I'm pretty sure it would have worked, but I'm saying that to make Titan fans be like, well, you don't know if it would have worked. Yeah, all right, whatever. Anyway, speaking of Titan fans, the Titans pick up a win 20-17 at home against the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are firmly, I believe, in the driver's seat to get the first pick in the draft. Actually, hold up. It's another team competing with these niggas for their first pick in the draft. I can't remember who it is, though. I can't remember if it's Carolina or if it's Vegas. Either way, Vegas, Carolina, and New England, they're competing for that first pick in the draft, and I'm almost certain it's going to be New England that gets it. Everybody keeps saying Drake May look good. I done had somebody tell me that they thought Drake May had the highest ceiling. And that's after this nigga watched Jaden Daniels play. So, you know, niggas just be talking. But I don't see what y'all see in Drake May. And maybe it's because the team is so bad around him right now. So it is very hard to. Patriots are a bad team. And the thing that the Patriots, I'm going to tell you what the Patriots remind me of. Or what they kind of resemble to me. Or what team could resemble the Patriots. Because, you know, the Patriots organization had Tom Brady, right? And then they just was living off of his success and that success they had in the past. They would not go get this nigga talent. Everybody taking pay cuts and shit. This is why I don't agree with pay cuts. Tom Brady taking all them pay cuts and shit, and they won't bring him in no real talent. He had to leave and go to Tampa Bay to play with some real talent and win a Super Bowl to prove, like, no, nigga, I'm still good. Y'all niggas just didn't have no talent at my disposal. That's interesting. Because now you look at this New England team, niggas still ain't got no talent. Niggas still ain't got no good run back. Niggas still ain't got no winners on the outside. Niggas still ain't got no game-changing tight end. Niggas' defense is no longer what it used to be. I don't understand. Now, I understand that most of this is on Bill. Bill didn't really leave shit in the cupboard to work with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you go to an Airbnb, you might go in the fridge, they got food right there for you and shit like. Yeah, Bill didn't leave shit in the refrigerator or in the pantry, in the cupboard, whatever you want to call it. He didn't leave. Y'all ever seen that movie, Indians in the Cupboard? I seen that movie, but I could not tell you what it was like right now. I could not remember. I remember the name of that movie, but the image in my head is of Small Soldiers, which is one of the greatest movies I ever got to watch as a kid. I was addicted to that movie, yo. Addicted. I can't remember the brown character's name, yo. What was his name? Archer something. I can't even remember the main character's name, like the army sergeant. You know what's crazy? Small Soldiers. What was the name of these, bro? Oh my God. Small Soldiers is interesting because I think this is like, what was the name of the major commander? I think that was like one of the first times where, no, it's not. It's a lot of movies where the military is the bad guys. I take that back. Anyways, Tennessee ended up winning that game 2017. New England is still void of talent. The thing that's interesting to me about Tennessee know that Will Levis ain't the answer. Which they deserve this for getting rid of Malik Willis. Malik Willis probably wasn't an answer either, but what you did for the fact that you never gave Malik Willis a legitimate shot to win this job, but you was so quick to get rid of him and you gave Malik Willis a shot to win this job. I don't know how I could look at that as any other way but racist, to be completely honest with you. And I'm not calling Tennessee racist. No. I'm saying, fuck that nigga Mike Variable. I ain't never been a fan of that nigga. Niggas was overhyping him for the longest because he was running off of the back of Derrick Henry. Like, you know, that's what I don't like about niggas. Like, Mike Variable did have his players juiced up and shit. But, yo, we giving niggas way too much credit for being good head coaches when they schemes is absolute ass. Or they rely on one nigga for scheme. Like, yo, Bill Belichick, you can't just say he relied on Tom Brady. Bill Belichick's defense was phenomenal. And he was the DC. He the defensive guru. Plus managing the clock. Managing egos. It's a lot of things that go into making a head coach great. My problem was that it was a lot of head coaches that niggas just liked them because they did something. Like, nigga Variable got into a beef with John Harbaugh and every nigga on the Pat McAfee show. Of course, white dudes. They fell in love with that type of behavior because anytime a white man act out of character or act like he tough or some shit like that, other white niggas love it. It's insanity. But I never understood what made people think that Mike Variable was some great head coach. It's like when they fired Salah. Like, it's like niggas will find that, oh, well, look at how they doing now. Nigga, I saw what they was doing with Salah too. Like, niggas keep saying, oh, Salah ain't had nothing to do with that. So whose problem with who had something to do with the fact that all the players had basically turned on the quarterback? Whose fault was it that all the players that your players basically had created size in the locker room? Like, whose problem was that? Who caused that? Because as a head coach, you supposed to be able to nip shit like that. And then the niggas who keep calling out, who keep saying, well, you know, Trevor Lawrence about to get Doug Peterson fired. Doug Peterson allowed the same shit that happened to Carson Wentz. I'm be honest. I'm a little confused as to what y'all think good quarterbacks are nowadays because, you know, that's all I would say. Denver, oh, we already went over Denver getting blasted 10-41 in Baltimore. Miami, Buffalo, 37-30. Great game. Great. Did this game go into overtime? This game did not go into overtime. I'm tripping. Tua Tagovailoa in this offense went down the field and scored late in this game. They just left a little bit too much time on the clock. I'm going to tell you what's interesting about this drive. So I tweeted incoming game-winning drive by Josh Allen. And it was a game-winning drive, but I did not think that drive would end the way it did. For one, for some reason, I didn't even realize. I just stopped paying attention. They only needed 3 points. They only needed 1 point, but the field goal was going to win it for them. Josh Allen did not really look great on that last drive. I think he only completed like 2 passes. Like he looked kind of shaky on that last drive. If the Dolphins had gotten a turnover or just had it was one pass that they really shouldn't have given up, and that was the pass that really killed them because they really didn't do much wrong on that last drive against Josh Allen. Josh Allen didn't look good on that last drive, but the kicker drilled a 61-yard field goal, bro. I even tweeted like, interesting drive by Josh Allen, because he really didn't do shit to help them win this game on this drive. But then your big dick kicker came in and said, let me let my nuts hang, and he drilled a 61-yarder that probably would have been good for 70, bro. I'm going to be honest with you, if he didn't know it was 70. Because soon as a nigga know it's 70, you know he ain't going to make that shit. They don't build him like Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker ain't never hit a 70. Suck my dick. Listen, that was a big kick by Bass. I think his name is Tyler Bass. That's a huge kick. I did not think he was going to drill that. For one, I didn't even think he was going to make it. Nigga just missed a kick that was way shorter than that one. And he drilled. Yo, just go back to the replays and watch this game. I mean, you don't got to watch the whole game. Just go back and watch the end. Just watch the fourth quarter, really. Or just watch the game-winning field goal kick. Either way, this nigga drilled this kick. So, shout out to Bass. Another great game, though, by Miami and Buffalo. I don't know if Miami and Tua are ever going to find a way to beat Josh Allen. But this is the thing. Much like I said about Dak never going to be able to beat the 49ers, because if you can't beat this version of the 49ers, then you probably ain't never beating these niggas. Yeah, I think I'm almost there when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa and beating the Buffalo Bills. And the worst part about this is Dak only got to play the 49ers once in the regular season. So that's just one L. Miami got to play Buffalo twice. Now, they get the next one at home. And I don't understand for the life of me why a Miami-Buffalo game was not in primetime slots instead of fucking Indy, Minnesota. Like, to me, that is insane. I understand some people might be like, well, we wanted to see the two rookies. No, the fuck we did not. Why would I want to see J.J. McCarthy, if he was healthy, and Anthony Richardson on a Sunday night fucking football game over Tua and Josh Allen? This is my problem with some of this scheduling. A game like Minnesota-Indy, because I know a lot of people be like, well, how is this the nighttime game? Because they probably wanted J.J. McCarthy and Anthony Richardson. However, why can't that be game of the week? Y'all keep giving the Cowboys all these fucking game of the weeks when nobody want to see these niggas lose every week. And I understand you got a big fan base that is Cowboy fans. These niggas suck. There should be other games of the week. I don't even think it's fair that Jerry Jones continuously get all these fucking game of the weeks. Just like I don't understand how the Jets keep getting these primetime games. I'm telling you. It must be this geographical location shit. Dallas Cowboys, the New York media. Like, because this is ridiculous how many games that the New York Jets done got. Did they not see Aaron Rodgers last season in Green Bay? And then him getting hurt last year? Why would we want to see these niggas in prime time every other week? And then, yo, J.J. McCarthy wasn't even like, I'm not trying to shit on J.J. McCarthy. I just don't understand why Minnesota-Indy was ever the Sunday night game when you had Miami-Buffalo on the docket. That definitely should have been the primetime game. But I digress. Tua, we're going to have to figure this thing out, buddy. You know, I'm an Alabama guy, so I rock with Tua. We're going to have to figure this thing out, Tua. You know what I think the biggest problem when it comes to Tua beating Josh Allen is, though? At some point in time in every one of these games, it come down to just being able to make throws, not run after the catch, like actual throws. Like you can't just dump it down 5-6 yards and have your players. Because if you look at that last drive from Miami, it was still a lot of yak yards getting picked up, yards after the catch. It wasn't like Tua was just, he did make a great throw to Waddle on the sideline. But aside from that, Archan getting yards after the catch. It was a lot of yards after the catch type of stuff. And in every one of these games, it eventually comes down to you just got to make like tough throws. And I know Tua can make the throw here and there, but his inconsistency to be able to throw dudes open. Like Tua relies too heavily on scheme at times also. The problem is when you get outside the scheme, I don't think Tua's arm ability is as good as some of the other quarterbacks. So, but I do love Tua, and clearly Miami is not the same team without Tua, which brings you your bigger problem. I don't see a Super Bowl with Miami right now. We done seen Miami with a plethora of weapons on that offense with great players on the defense. Nowhere near a Super Bowl. So I really don't know where you go with Miami at this point in time. Your season is probably lost because you're like 2-7 at this point. You're definitely not winning the division. You're definitely not making the playoffs, in my opinion. With teams like, Baltimore and Pittsburgh really hurt you because one of them two teams gonna win the division. The other one is gonna make they're gonna be the number one wild card seed. The Chargers are not winning that division. They'll probably be competing for a wild card spot. Cincinnati, I think, is going to end up missing the playoffs, but if they get hot and get some bad teams to beat, they end up, and all they have to do is really win 1 or 2 big games against good teams, and then just beat the rest of the bad teams they play, and Cincinnati will probably be a wild card team. So I don't really see Miami getting to the playoffs this year. And I think it's time to reevaluate some of the things. Because for one, the interesting thing about Miami is they're not even a bad team. Like, we know it's injuries and stuff that done got them to this point. Miami's not a bad team. We know this. Miami probably got a hell of a payroll also with some of the weapons they pay. And Miami is clearly not going to get rid of Tua. So now, the way I said that Dallas have to figure out how do we win a Super Bowl even with Dak, because we done given Dak everything great to work with and he still didn't get it done. That's kind of what Tua, that's where you at with Tua. Now you trying to figure out, is it coaching? Is it DC? Like, what do we have to do to get Tua over? Because Tua and Dak, to me, is a lot alike, really. Damn near the same quarterbacks. One left-handed, one right-handed. Except for Tua kind of do have better games against great quarterbacks. Now, he do have those stinkers here and there, but Tua ain't always bad against great competition, but he rarely beat the great competition, much like with Dak don't never beat the good competition. So Tua done had wins against great teams. Dak doesn't. So, but that's where, to me, that's where you end up as a franchise. When you have quarterbacks who, as good as my quarterback might be, it's not even necessarily him. We got so much around him and we just cannot seem to get it done. And you looking at other quarterbacks that don't have nowhere near at their disposal what Tua have, and they get it done. So it's going to be interesting to see how Miami handle this over the next couple of years, because I don't think they'll get to a Super Bowl with Tua Tagovailoa. I don't even know if Tua will stay healthy enough for him to get to compete for one. But I do know all that talent that they got ain't getting younger, ain't getting cheaper. So it's going to be interesting to see what Miami do, because Buffalo, if you look at Buffalo, they basically done reset themselves up pretty nicely, because I don't think they're going to re-sign Amari Cooper. Like, I don't think Amari Cooper is the type of receiver. To me, they need a younger, elusive, like a dude who can stretch the field, make the big catches, can, do the. I think Amari Cooper fill one type of role for the receiver. And I know there's people out there who think that he better than Stephon Diggs. To me, that's irrelevant. What Stephon Diggs did for the Buffalo Bills, I don't see Amari recreating that, because he ain't that type of receiver no more. I don't know if the Bills might try to re-sign Amari, but I don't think that's the move that I would make. For one, Amari still struggling in the big games against the great teams. But aside from that, it's just I would bring Amari back. Nah, if I'm the Bills, that's not who I'm bringing back. I'm going to be honest. If I'm the Bills, Amari Cooper is not the receiver. If I'm the Bills, I'm not going to lie to you. Deontay Johnson is definitely coming over on my team in the offseason. Now, I don't think Deontay is what everybody else keep trying to make him be. Like, everybody want to overhype people when they come to Lamar's team and try to make it seem like Lamar got everything at his disposal. But I'm not one of them dumbasses. I do like Deontay Johnson as a 2 or a 3, though. And I think he would fit the role of that phenomenally in Buffalo, because he's young. He can grow with Josh Allen. Great hands, great route runner. But the great hands, I think he got good hands. Great route runner. He is a great route runner. I like the separation he can create, but I don't think he create better separation than Zay or Rashad Bateman right now, which is why it was just an interesting trade to me. But you put him with somebody like Josh Allen, and then for one, he would already be the best number 2 that I had because Gabe Davis isn't better than him. But then you go, now if you keep Amari and you bring over I forget my man's name. Deontay. You bring Deontay over and you keep Amari, that could get interesting. But I do think you need a stretch the field type of player. And Amari is not stretching the field the way a stretch the field receiver is usually doing nowadays. But I just don't. I like Amari right now with the Bills. Long term, I don't. I would rather see a different type of receiver be with Josh Allen. And it's not me taking a shot at Amari. It's just me understanding how Josh and the Bills run their offense. Also, to me, the biggest thing with Josh Allen and the Bills, I'm not going to tell you to fire McDermott, even though I do think McDermott is a good head coach. I'm just starting to not really see what he is doing to get this team. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes, coaches have these idle years where they don't look like they play as big a role in their team's success. But if you've been watching me for a while, I done been iffy on. I know Sean McDermott is a good head coach. I don't know if Sean McDermott can get the Bills to where they need to get to. I just don't. The only offensive hire that he made that I liked was Brian Daboll, who is no longer there. I don't like any of the moves before or after that, even though his first move really was Brian Daboll. I'm not a fan of... Listen, his defense for a long time was great. Now, he done lost a lot of the pieces that they had on that defense. But the defense is not god-awful. I mean, I don't know what you would do with Sean McDermott. I'm going to say keep him because he basically going through what Mike Tomlin was going through, where it's just some tough years that build up where you still a good team, you still have success, but you're not competing for a Super Bowl realistically. You're not a Super Bowl caliber team unless Josh just go outer body. And that was even worse for Tomlin because he didn't have a quarterback who could go outer body. So I just think we around that time where it's time for Sean McDermott to evolve his coaching and get more out of. It's just so interesting. It's very interesting, this Sean McDermott thing. I'm gonna put a pin in it and come back to it on a different show though. New Orleans, Carolina. I did not think I was going to be on this long. I thought I was going to do like a cool little 50 minutes. I was wrong. Carolina at home. They lose 22-23, which brings us to the Derek Carr, Michael Thomas situation. I was watching these games today and then niggas started tweeting, oh, yo, Mike Thomas going at Derek Carr on the thing. I thought that was like his shit getting hacked. No, that was really him. Mike Thomas really don't fuck with Derek Carr. Such a shame. Derek Carr, he said in the interview, it's the only guy who didn't like me. That must be the realest nigga in the room then, man. Because I'm going to tell you something. I done been, in my lifetime, I done been in this situation like 2 or 3 times where I wasn't the one, but I was in a situation where one other person, matter of fact, I was in this multiple times, one other time, where everybody loved one person. But it's just this one person who don't fuck with him. And I done seen this like 3 times, including with myself once. And I'm going to be honest, and maybe I'm being biased. Because, if I'm being biased, I like to say I'm probably being biased. Bro, I'm starting to agree with that one person, man. I'm going to be honest. It's just a bunch of dumb people out there who don't see people for what they really is, whether it be because they just cool with that person because of aesthetic or because they want something from them or things like that. I don't know, man, because like my situation, I got a manager who everybody love this nigga. I can't stand this nigga, bro. Like, I think this is one of the most bitch-made niggas I done ever had to work with. And everybody love this nigga. And I'm like, bro, Y'all love this nigga because he don't talk to y'all or treat y'all, or y'all don't see the shit that I see. I say, but I can't stand this nigga. This nigga is not what y'all think he is. And that's, usually it's an interesting situation. It really is when that type of thing happens. But who's to say Mike Thomas is wrong? When I heard Derek Carr say, this is the only guy who doesn't like me, I was like, well, maybe you a fuck nigga. Maybe that's why, Derek. I think I'm just triggered now by the fact that when somebody say, well, this the only person who don't like me. Maybe because all them other niggas is stupid. Like Joe Budden said, at some point in time, when everybody is telling you it's not them, it's you, you got to get the courage at some point in time to say, suck my dick. Y'all niggas the problem, not me. That's basically what Joe Budden said. At some point in time, you got to get the courage to look all them niggas in the eye and say, it's y'all niggas, not me. Suck my dick. That's just, you got to get comfortable with doing that in life at times, because you got a lot of gaslighters in this world, ladies and gentlemen. Let me talk to you. See, Kanye West once said, hater niggas marry hater bitches and have hater kids. He don't even understand how big that lesson applied. You see, stupid niggas marry stupid bitches and have stupid ass kids. He should have said that also, because he falls in that category. However, human beings inherently are a bunch of dumbasses, but we grow, we learn, and things of that nature. So far be it from me to not call somebody a dumbass who done lived long enough to develop and learn these life lessons and still choose to say and do stupid shit. Like I said, at some point in time. See, dumbasses hang with dumbasses. And you got this thing where, and I'll never understand it, where a lot of dumb people will root for this one nigga. And I'm not talking like one person could be a dipshit and be stupid, and a whole bunch of other stupider niggas rock with him. You have to have the courage, the conviction to look at them niggas and say, all y'all niggas is a bunch of dumbasses. All y'all niggas is goofy ass niggas. Suck my dick. I'm going home. Once you develop that type of courage, the world is yours, as they say. Anyways, a lot of players not happy with that New Orleans loss. I saw Cam Jordan talking about this thing. They've been going at Cam Jordan on Twitter this year. I haven't really paid it too much. I haven't spoken on it because I have seen it. Boy, they going at Cam Jordan, man. This is one of the great defensive ends of our time. As soon as you leave your prime, niggas start going crazy, bro. They don't appreciate none of the greatness that you gave them throughout them years. All they care about now is saying, you washed. That's the first thing they want to do. They don't care about all that greatness that you done provided them, all the great moments, how hard it was for you to remain this consistent for this long. They just worried about the end. When it's over, or when it's a little bit of slippage, washed. That's interesting. Anyways, I tend to agree with Mike Thomas. Now, with the personal stuff he was saying, no clue. Obviously, I'm not there. I'm not one of them niggas on Twitter who will talk about shit as if I was sitting right beside Thomas and Derek Carr while this shit was happening. I don't know about none of that shit. But all the shit where he was saying you got coaches fired because you not that good. And in a year that I think he was talking about Hunter Renfrow, where he went for all them yards, you had to throw him 180 fucking passes. Yeah, I agree with all that. That stuff I was already saying about Derek Carr. Derek Carr, to me, is a far worse version of Matthew Stafford. He overthrow his best player, even though nowadays he seemed to not throw it to them niggas at all. He did throw a hospital ball to Chris Olave today, even though that might not even been the worst pass I saw a quarterback make to a player today. Yesterday, it was another quarterback who threw a pass to his a hospital ball. It wasn't Joe. Was it Joe Burrow? I think it was Trevor Lawrence. Anyways, the way Derek Carr, I'm not shocked that this is what's going on with Derek, because a great quarterback This wouldn't be, for one, if he was a great quarterback, he'd still be in Vegas more than likely. But I just think that the world is now starting to see that Derek Carr is not some otherworldly leader like niggas try to make him out to be. He might be a good man and a good person, but that don't mean he the greatest football leader like niggas always try. That's why I always say I don't understand how some of these niggas get this C on their chest. I understand that a quarterback, you just give it to a quarterback automatically. But I mean, goddamn, I done heard so many niggas have problems with Aaron Rodgers. How the fuck is this nigga still walking around with a C on his chest? The problems that some of these players done had with Derek Carr, the losing with Derek Carr would make me not put a C on this nigga's chest. If my captain is the leader of this team and we are perennial losers, we need a new captain. Because clearly the message ain't getting through. Clearly, he just getting us up to lose every week. The Michael Thomas Derek Carr situation is hilarious though. The funniest shit that I ever seen Derek I could see how a nigga like Derek Carr would piss somebody off. Because after that shit that happened with Henry Ruggs, for one, that's the only reason you niggas started overhyping Derek Carr. Because for some reason, when Henry Ruggs, the black man, got in trouble, it was the white man who held the team together. I don't understand some of you. Like, he held the team together. Bro, what happened with Henry Ruggs ain't had shit to do with that nigga or the team. Did it affect the team? In the sense that, yeah, it just lost Henry Ruggs. That's about it. Henry Ruggs wasn't even having a all-star caliber career at that point in time. On top of that, John Gruden and his racist comments. Oh, he held the team together during that. How? Like, you niggas just immediately find your favorite white person on the team and start giving them credit. It's the same shit that happened when white people be like, oh, look at Joe Burrow. He just answered these questions so great. Nigga, fuck Joe Burrow. That nigga was hating on Halloween. Fuck that nigga. But, you know, I got a little carried away. My apologies. I'm just saying, y'all niggas is pretty irritating when it comes to this white knight type of behavior, man. Like, goddamn, I understand you niggas like Derek Carr, but shit. I mean, fuck, man. The shit had me in tears yesterday. Anyways, the Chargers were at Cleveland. This is really a more proper show, to be honest with you, because I'm not even thinking about the time. Honestly, I could say to myself, man, will somebody sit down and watch this whole thing? Yeah, I believe people will break it down into parts if they need to and watch it. Plus, this is more of this is more of how the show's going to, because when we get bigger, the show's going to be way longer than an hour. So we might as well start conditioning ourselves. If you notice, I'm going to start making these things around 2 hours now. But really, the plan is to start breaking up videos anyways into smaller little, not necessarily shows, just like, see, what I don't want to do is to just take a part out of the show and turn that into a video. That, to me, that's kind of lazy. I understand that that's what a lot of people do. And it's key parts that you want people to hear, but they won't be able to hear it because they're not going to sit through the whole hour. That's really smart more so than it is lazy. It might be lazy that I don't do that, actually. You know what I'm saying? I don't never want to be no hater. So I always try to think situations through. And if I feel like I'm taking a shot unnecessarily at niggas, I always try to turn it back on myself. Because I'm just not a hater. You know what I'm saying? Which brings me. I'm upset. You see, to step away from football for a second, which is weird that we stepping away from football because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 fucking games left to talk about. Or to hit gloss over. But I am upset. And I could have had this segment earlier. But it really ain't shit in the NFL going on right now that had me upset. But it is something that I saw that had me upset. And it's really a two-parter. Drake, what's up with you, nigga? Yo. You a grown-ass man acting like this, man. For one, you whispered under your breath as DeMar was walking past. Fuck, what did he call him, a fuck nigga or something like that? And then when they was talking about hanging a banner for him, he said he'd get up there and tear that thing down. Now, this is all stemming from his beef with Kendrick and the fact that DeMar DeRozan was in the Not Like Us video. Now, Drake, I'm all for pick a side. I got no problem with niggas picking sides. But my guy, I even understand you saying me and DeMar supposed to be cool. I cannot believe, but DeMar is in an interesting situation. He is from Compton, California. He rocks with Kendrick. In real life, it makes sense that he rock with Kendrick. They from the same fucking area. But I also understand he played for Toronto. And you supported him heavily when he played for Toronto. But you see, to me, that's on you. That was you being a fan. Not only were you being a fan, you were being a fan with money. You knew you had money, so you knew you could have a relationship with these Toronto players. Most regular fans don't get that. You did. And you're Drake. Mind you, DeMar said he still rock with both of you. But I do understand how you could say, I don't really like you going in that video. Even though the next part, I mean, I wish you had just left it at that, because the thing that you did on the basketball court, that was gay. Okay? And that ain't nothing wrong with being gay. All right? But that was gay. Not gay as in, I like boys or I like girls and I'm a girl. No. That was gay as in, but that was gay. I do want to say something though. Drake is not actually. I'm not upset at Drake. Like I said, I kind of understand it to a little extent, but I wouldn't have took it as far as him doing the shit that he did at the game and saying the shit he said. It just wouldn't have. I understand this thing bothering him. He thought DeMar was his homie, even though I really don't understand how you thought, like, him and DeMar must have had a hell of a relationship. Nonetheless, I can, if I think about it hard enough, understand Drake to an extent. What I don't understand, grown ass niggas waking up every day to tweet about Drake. You niggas don't make money from tweeting about this nigga. You niggas don't make money from talking about this nigga. You niggas don't make money from tweeting and talking shit at this nigga. You do not make money for having Kendrick's nutsack. You don't make money for guzzling on that nigga's nutsack. But every day I get up and get on Twitter, niggas got tweets that's basically you put them together and it's a storybook about Drake. At the end of the day, that nigga is still in a better financial situation than most of you hating ass niggas that get on Twitter and hate on that nigga. And you know what I just thought about as I was talking about Drake? I'm so happy I thought about this. You know what else I'm upset about? You hoe ass niggas who keep tweeting about Meg. Oh, she lied about sleeping with Tori. Yo, y'all not real niggas, bro. Who is raising y'all? Like, who is y'all parents? Like, it's no way y'all got fathers in y'all lives. There's no way he is okay with y'all niggas sitting around worried about niggas you never met, never gonna meet, never gonna have a conversation with, more than likely. And that's not me shooting down certain people's dreams. This is me talking to them weird ass niggas who make their whole life a news cycle of celebrities. That's all they care about is the news is going on with celebrities. What is celebrities' life like? Like, that is so weird. And the fact that you niggas are coming to the altar of Tory Lanez. I'm almost certain none of the niggas that get on Twitter that defend Tory are bigger Tory Lanez fans than me. Well before Tory Lanez ever shot Meg Thee Stallion, I was a Tory Lanez fan. Well before I even knew who the fuck a Meg Thee Stallion was, I was a Tory Lanez fan. It is very few, if any, who I've heard that can rap and sing on the level of a Tory Lanez. He is elite at both. My ringtone for like 4 or 5 years was LA Confidential by Tory Lanez. And I hope you never have to leave my girlfriend. LA Confidential. LA Confidential. That was my ringtone for the long. Cause I know I got somebody So I can't fuck with just anybody. But sometimes I get lonely. That was my ringtone for a long time. Matter of fact, me and my brothers was in Applebee's doing karaoke, singing LA Confidential. The hoes loved it. The hoes loved it. True story. We was in Applebee's down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina on my birthday a long time ago. This was like, and I don't even go out on my birthday, so this is why I'll probably always remember this. The things that I do on special occasions, I don't usually do, so I remember them when I do them. I was in not Baltimore. I was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I actually, you know what's funny? I wasn't even supposed to be in Winston that long. I was just going down to Winston to make a stop. And then I was headed back to Baltimore. No, I wasn't headed to Baltimore that night. Where was I headed that night? I was headed to Durham that night. I was headed to Durham. No. I was headed to Raleigh. I was headed to Raleigh that night. I was either headed to Raleigh or Durham. I cannot remember which one I was headed to. I'm trying to remember the chicken in my head that I was fucking with at that point in time. And I think I was headed to Durham. Yes, I was headed to Durham. The women was in Durham already. I was headed to Durham because I remember that night my fucking windshield wipers broke halfway through the drive, and it was cold and raining outside during the drive. So I had to stick my head out the window the entire drive from Winston to Durham with my head out the window, cold as all hell. But me and my boys figured it out. And then we had to go pick up some ladies after we got back to Durham with the same issue. I was a chauffeur on that night. We could have died. Could have lost our lives. We didn't. Thank the Lord. Anyways, we did a LA Confidential with Tory Lanez and Applebee's that night. So I fuck with Tory Lanez. I love Tory Lanez music. Tory Lanez a whole ass lane for shooting that girl and that woman in her foot. And then y'all niggas is lamer for talking about some, oh, she lied. Nigga, it's none of y'all business who she fucking sleep with. I think it's weird as hell that I think it was Gail Kim who asked Meg Thee Stallion this. The black woman who asked Meg Thee Stallion, did she sleep with Tory Lanez? She should have got her ass beat. Clearly, you old women do not know how to address your younger counterparts. That's why I see so many older women calling these younger women hoes. Instead of trying to help them, they always talking shit about them, trying to get in a man's grace. I can't stand shit like that. It's the same way I don't like it when a man sitting around to another woman down in men. Help niggas out. I love Tory Lanez music. I love Meg Thee Stallion's music. I'm a human being at the end of the day. Loving somebody's music is not going to kill off the humanity in me. And the fact that you niggas sit around going at Meg Thee Stallion because she slept with somebody and lied about it. She didn't lie about it, for one. I don't like that people keep saying that. I don't even like that she might have think she lied about it. My nigga, who I sleep with, who she sleep with, who that person, you, is nobody's fucking business. The fact that somebody would even ask her that during that situation, did you sleep with him, is ignorant. Because what the fuck does that have to do with me being shot? Now you got goofy niggas out here who ain't got no type of home training saying, oh, well, he in jail because she didn't like it. All type of dumbass situations. That nigga is in jail because of himself. Choices he made. Decisions he made. At some point in time, you niggas is going to have to grow up and stop praising the wrong celebrities. Stop drinking from and it's not even celebrity praise. You niggas just hate women. Which, you know, I done said it multiple times. I don't understand you niggas. It seems like you niggas love your homeboys more than you actually love women. It's like the way I see some of y'all young dudes hate women nowadays, I never seen anything like it. Back in my day, and I'm only 30, so I know this sound like some old shit, but back in my day, we love women. You couldn't see a dude without a woman with him. We always wanted to be with women. We loved women. Obviously, you got the stupid few, the few that we can't stand, but that's everything. If you white, you don't love all white people. There's some ones in there that get on your fucking nerves. If you black, you don't love all black people. I love all black people, actually. It's just some niggas that, but nope, I take that back because it's some coons out there. So yeah, it works like that for everything. So, you know, you niggas that continuously get on Twitter and talk about Drake and Kent and all this goofy shit, go make some money, nigga. And for you niggas who hate women and consistently go at Meg Thee Stallion, because see, I already know why most niggas go at pretty women, because niggas know they can't have them. You'll never see a more hateful nigga than a nigga who know he can't have a bitch that's right in front of him that he want. A nigga that cannot have a woman that he want, boy, you gonna see him get real shiesty. Now, there's some dudes out there who understand this thing of life. It just keeps rolling. We can't have every woman we want sometimes. We'll double back to them when we know we can get them. There's some niggas who operate like that. Rejection is not truly rejection. Now, no, hold up. Some niggas don't think rejection is rejection. They go out there and doing the craziest. I'm not talking about them type niggas. Lock them niggas up. I'm talking about the niggas who got a little bit more swag about themselves, who got a little bit more common sense, who, when they get rejected, the first thing they say ain't ugly bitch. No, the first thing they say is, cool, I respect it, and they walk away. Be that type of nigga. You gonna pull way more women in your life doing that. You gonna learn to like women way more. Because the way y'all niggas hate women right now, I pray y'all niggas don't never have daughters. Oh, I pray y'all don't. Because the way that people talked about Meg Thee Stallion, the way people still, and maybe this is why I see these situations a little different. Because I always say to myself, if this is my daughter, would I be okay with this happening right now? Do I think she brought this on? Would I sit down with her and tell her, I don't like what's happening to you, but these are the things you need to do different? So that's not the situation. Y'all niggas is just nosy and obsessed with celebrities. And that's why you will remain broke. Let's get back to the games though, okay? Chicago loses 9-29 in Arizona. Now, Arizona is in first place in the NFC West. However, I do not think that Arizona is the best team in the NFC West. I think this is a division in flux. It's great when the Rams is banged up. It's great. Mind you, my boy Puka got ejected from the game for throwing a punch yesterday. I did not know. When I watched that replay back, did not realize he had threw a punch. I don't even know if Puka meant to throw a punch. Like the situation, I don't think Puka tried to throw a punch. I don't think he should have been ejected, but nonetheless, Arizona's in first place. They win 29-9. A good win against, nobody really looked spectacular in the game. Really, what I come around from this saying is the Cardinals have an opportunity to make a wild card berth or to possibly win that division. But more so the Bears, because, I like Matt Eberflus. I'm going to just go ahead and tell you this. I don't think that Matt Eberflus is a bad head coach. However, Eberflus might be coaching the wrong team. And the reason that I think that is the coach that they had before Eberflus, I also didn't think that he was a bad head coach, but I understood, listen, you drafted Justin Fields. Justin Fields didn't work out. They blamed you for that. It just is what it is. I get that. Eberflus is better. I can't remember that last head coach's name for the life of me. I know he the OC of the Chiefs. Nonetheless, I think Eberflus is a good head coach. The problem being, Eberflus is not an offensive-minded head coach. He is a defensive-minded head coach. And I told y'all this when he got hired. The problem would be, could he either get an offensive coordinator over here that's good enough, which will end up leaving within 2 years if he is really good enough, or can he get himself a quarterback that is good enough to put them in a good position? Because offensively, yeah, the Bears is not all there. They don't look great offensively on a week-to-week basis. Caleb Williams look rocky on a week-to-week basis. And as much as I don't want to blame Eberflus for that, and I'm not really blaming Eberflus as much as I'm saying I think when you have a young quarterback like Caleb Williams, Jay Daniels, and really you could argue this and say, Saint, that's not true, because look at Jay Daniels over there in Washington, and he got a defensive-minded head coach. But he also has Cliff Kingsbury as his OC. So that's my thing. I don't really want to fire Eberflus. I'm going to be honest. I'm not really addicted to firing Eberflus right now. I understand some people say, well, his defense don't look nowhere near as great. Well, that's a lie. His defense done started looking shaky at the end recently. But the offense does not score consistently. So the defense is out there a lot anyways. The offense has not yet figured out how each week in, week out is going to put up 20 plus points. I think every offense need to go into each week saying to ourselves, we need to put up 20 plus something points every week. How do we get those first 20? The Bears don't know how they're going to get those first 20 points. Hell, the Bears usually don't know how they're going to get the first 10 points. Or 14 points. So to me, I don't think this is an Eberflus problem. It can become an Eberflus problem, but not by the fact that because I just don't think it's like when people was telling me that Kevin Stefanski was a bad head coach, even after he won his coach of the year. I don't see it. I don't think he a bad head coach. I think this is with Kevin Stefanski. Clearly, this is an ownership problem. I don't think it's a Kevin Stefanski problem. Kevin Stefanski has to have Deshaun Watson as his quarterback. And because he has to have Deshaun Watson as his quarterback, he cannot go out there and properly try to draft another quarterback or develop another quarterback so he can have his quarterback. He can't do that. He didn't draft Baker. He didn't draft Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was a owner decision. So I don't think Eberflus is a bad head coach. I just think he got to figure out who to bring in as an OC. Because this is the reality. Ben Johnsons do not just... Every team does not have a Ben Johnson, for one. Most of these great offenses is because the head coach is calling the plays. You got these rare situations where you have these great OCs under a head coach like a Todd Monken, even though nobody wanted Todd Monken coming out of Georgia, but now he with that's interesting. You got the Todd Monkens, you got the Ben Jones, you got the coordinator over there in oh, I'm tripping. That's Kyle. I'm wilding. I don't know why I was finna say the San Francisco 49ers. But you see these two specific offensive coordinators that's making the headlines recently. I don't know if you'll find somebody like that, to be honest. And even if you do, there'll probably be a head coach within the Todd Monken one is interesting because will he be a head coach or do people only want him to get him away from Lamar and the Ravens? Do people actually believe Todd Monken can come in and lead? As old as Todd is, do teams really believe Todd Monken can come in and turn their offense around? Or do you just want to get him away from Lamar Jackson? Or is this one of them situations where you don't believe Lamar Jackson as good as he is? Now you saying to yourself, nah, it's got to be something. So now it's got... Because it's very interesting to me that now nobody wanted Greg Roman. It took Jim Harbaugh coming in here, bringing in that archaic ass offense. That's the problem that I have with Jim bringing in Greg Roman for. You do not make the game easier for Justin Herbert, and I do not think your running backs are talented enough to try to run the ball like you did with Frank Gore when you were with San Fran. And your defense, as good as your defense is, your defense also has, much like the Broncos defense, in my opinion, is certain quarterbacks that when you see them, certain offenses that when you see them, it's going to be a problem for the Chargers. But I have more faith in the Chargers than I do them NFC defenses because I like Jim Harbaugh. I trust Jim Harbaugh. But with that being said, I think Chicago need to go out and get... it's just so hard because you can't... Either... This is decision making when you're the head coach, I would imagine. My job is on the line. My job's always on the line, probably is what they're thinking. I need to get this offense going, and I need it to be more efficient. I need it to be able to score more points consistently. I need us, for the most part, to know what we're doing on offense. So, you only really have two ways around it because you're not replacing the quarterback and you got weapons everywhere. So it's not a weapons problem. It's not a quarterback problem, you don't think. And obviously you're the head coach, so you're not going to say it's a head coach problem. Your only really two moves to make is you bring your OC back and hope that he get better, or you go out and scout a different OC whose offense you feel like would I would go to get a OC out of college. I'm not gonna lie to you. Seeing these OCs come from college and now they starting to work in the NFL. I don't like these OCs coming out of college being head coaches. But you take Todd Monken out of Georgia. He done been great with Baltimore. You take Cliff Kingsbury. He wasn't a great head coach, but he is a great offensive play caller with Washington. So I actually like some of these offensive play callers in college. My only thing is, can you get a college coordinator who not only is addicted to the stuff he called in college, but he understands how to evolve it in the NFL? I think that's what you need to find if you're the Chicago Bears, because I don't think Eberflus is a bad head coach right now. I don't understand why everybody immediately said Eberflus. What the fuck he got to do with Caleb Williams going out there playing bad? Caleb Williams is overthrowing dudes, underthrowing dudes, not hitting it. Like, he not that accurate right now. Like, I don't understand how this is on Eberflus and not the OC right now, or on just the offensive players. This is crazy. Like, y'all niggas find ways to blame niggas for everything. It's insane. The Jacksonville Jaguars lose 23-28 against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. Now, this was it got interesting because Philly ended up letting Jacksonville back in the fucking game. First, Jacksonville scored. Then they recovered a Saquon fumble, which I still don't think that was a fumble. I don't know what the replay is there for if you can't make an easy call like that, because the dude touched Saquon, so that should not have been a fumble. But nonetheless, they saw the replay, analyzed the replay, still did not reverse the call. So that is interesting. But the Jags got back in this game off of some nonsense, and then, of course, they lost it off of a bad throw by Trevor Lawrence. And as I was watching this throw by Trevor Lawrence, I was trying to decide to myself, is this a bad throw, or is this just a great catch by the defender? And I think the reason I questioned that at first is because I done seen so many corners drop passes recently, easy interceptions, that when you see a corner go up and make a tougher interception, which wouldn't be tough if it's a receiver, but it's tough for corners, it's just like, okay. But yeah, that was a bad throw by Trevor Lawrence in the game. Such is the legend of Trevor Lawrence, man. You just don't know what you're going to get on a throw-to-throw basis. In this game, he made some great throws. He also made some bad throws. Like, the biggest problem with Trevor Lawrence is you just don't know what you're going to get right now. You don't know if he's going to be good this week, bad this week, alright this week, manageable this week, atrocious this week. You really don't know what you're going to get. And I do think that's a coaching problem at this point. So while Trevor Lawrence might not be the player that we expected him to be, or that a lot of people expected him to be at this point, that he was hyped up to be, I still think you could win with Trevor Lawrence. I still think he got talent and whatnot. I just don't think coaching is clearly not getting home right now. And I'm not the biggest, I'm about to be, since they like getting rid of players. I'm not always going to call him, fire the coach. And I understand people like, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. And I like Doug Peterson as a head coach. Doug Peterson clearly is not, he just not getting through to this team. This team, and it's weird to say that, seeing as how they started off last year, and how it basically ended last year and then permeated into this season. It kind of got that Eagles Carson Wentz feel, where it's not going to change until we get rid of somebody. And that somebody was Doug Peterson, and they immediately became a winning organization again. So Doug Peterson might end up being the fall guy for this too. I think the biggest problem is that you are OC, you're offensive-minded head coach. Your offense is not great. Your offense struggles scoring on a weekly basis. You haven't been this quarterback whisperer. Like, Trevor Lawrence does not look great on a week-to-week basis. Your running game does not look great on a week-to-week. Travis Etienne basically gave you one good season. At this point, Trevor Lawrence basically gave you one good season. So, and you play in the AFC. And if you the cons, you don't want to fire a head coach after you still paying, because they probably still paying Urban Meyer. But that's not my checkbook, so I don't really know what to say about the Jags. I don't really know if they should fire. Really, you're not going to have no choice but to fire him. That's the reality, because you just paid Trevor Lawrence. You really about to be left with no other option but to fire Doug Peterson, in my opinion. Like, I don't know what other move helps this team. Like, it's not that they haven't had any talent. They done had talent on the team. This is what confuses it, because I don't want to shit on the quarterback, but if the quarterback played a lot better, this wouldn't be an issue. Like Dak, Geno, Trevor Lawrence, Baker when he was with the Browns, all these niggas got to do is play better. Like, we keep trying to find ways to put it on everything else, but if you go back to every single one of them situations, if them niggas just play better, it's a completely different situation. Now, Trevor Lawrence with Urban Meyer, I get that. That's different. But now you with a stable head coach. You with a coach that's been to a Super. Like, I just think at times we blame coaches and things around them. At certain times, we just need the quarterback to play better. And I wish some of you niggas would stop being so addicted to these stats. Watch the games. Stats do not matter. Sometimes, yeah, they put up gaudy stats and it coincide with the game they just had. But if you go look at Lamar Jackson's stats from yesterday, those stats probably don't really sum up how actually great he really was in that game yesterday. Just like Dak Prescott's games don't really show you how bad he be in games because of all the stat padding he do at the end of games. So I'm just telling you to stop watching stats and watch the game. That's it. Detroit was in Green Bay and they win 24-14. Now, I meant to actually talk about Green Bay and Detroit earlier when I was talking about Jared Goff, but this game was so far down my list of games to get to. So, it is what it is. Either way, Detroit, Green Bay, Jordan Love ended up getting hurt in this game late, wobbling a little bit. My thing, I really wish Aaron Jones was still on this team. Because I know Josh Jacobs is a good running back. I know he's the younger running back. But Josh Jacobs is just not the offensive weapon that Aaron Jones was. Like, I wish there was a reality where they could have kept both. Because they really do miss that receiving threat out of the backfield. Aaron Jones is basically a slot receiver that can run like a running back. Because he got unbelievable hands for a running back. To the point where it's not even... I don't even like saying he just can catch for a running back. The nigga is legitimately a slot receiver type of catcher. And so I actually don't like... Well, slot receiver ain't really much about catching more so than it is the ability to run routes, go across the middle, the speed that you got to break. Because you don't want to take them big hits in the middle. So you should be... Regardless. I really think that they could use an Aaron Jones. Like, I like Josh Jacobs. But Josh Jacobs for me, because the reality is, I know Matt LaFleur like running the ball Jordan. It's an interesting dynamic when you got Jordan Love, and you got a running back that's. I'm not gonna disrespect Josh Jacobs. That's Alabama product right there, but. I just can see how you get yourself in a little dilemma where you don't want to run it as much because you got Jordan Love. But then again, Jordan Love is kind of turnover prone at the moment. So you don't want to just have him out there slinging that bitch around. I think right now, my whole thing with Jordan Love is. No, you know what my thing is? I still would like for them to trade for a number one receiver. I'm still not sold on none of these dudes, Dobbs, Watkins. I'm not sold on none of these dudes being the number one option still. I think every single receiver on this team could be a phenomenal number two. And maybe there is number ones on this team, but I think right now, a number one receiver, and this is the interesting thing about the Packers, yo. The defense didn't play a bad game yesterday. Like I said, the Packers defense, it's very rare that they just put the Packers in position and not have a chance. Now is more so the offense turning the ball over, not being able to finish drives, not being able to pick up first sometimes, getting sloppy at times. I think right now the Packers is fighting a talent problem, meaning the talent is so talented that sometimes you got to remember to coach these niggas up because the talent can lose you games because of how talented the talent is. Like once Jordan Love know he got a great arm. So Jordan Love know it's not a single throw he won't try. That's a problem. Because you don't trust yet that Jordan Love understands that while he can make every throw, he shouldn't attempt every throw. And so once the Packers figure that out, the Packers will be a better team. I still think that the Packers, though, are a dangerous team because when October roll around, when the playoffs roll around, Jordan Love is still, to me, the better quarterback. The only quarterback right now in the NFC that I would take over Jordan Love is Matthew Stafford. And I don't even know if I would take him over Jordan Love. I would just currently take him over Jordan Love. But it's not many quarterbacks in it. Jared Goff, I wouldn't take Jared Goff over. See, some people confuse system with Goff. I don't. That's why. And I know some people would be like, oh man, he just hating on Goff. No, I'm not. I'm just not confusing Ben Johnson's system and the talent with Jared Goff and saying that Jared Goff is doing all of this. No. The Rams against the Seahawks. The Rams find a way to beat the Seahawks as the Seahawks find a way to lose to the Rams again. 20-26. You know, the Seahawks, and I talked about this earlier, the cap on what they can do is so that shit is tight. Like, you know how somebody get a soda and they'll twist the cap extra hard to make sure nobody can open? That's the cap right now on the Seattle Seahawks to me. Geno Smith is not getting you nowhere. He might get you a first round playoff exit or a wild card exit, but you know, and I keep seeing people try to, every time I see Geno and some of these dudes have bad games, you know, you got these analysts that try to massage the L. No, Geno, this offensive game plan to me is ugly. And you want to know what's crazy? Is it the offensive game plan that's ugly, or is it just Geno can't execute the game plan? Now, I don't think it's just Geno can't execute because they've been basically running the same offense for the last couple years, and they done had offensive talent for the last couple years. So that's why I believe it's an offensive scheming problem. However, Geno is a very limited quarterback. I don't know how many times I got to say that. I don't know what the Seahawks is looking at to where they have to know that they need a quarterback. Like, it's no way they watching Geno and the way that they have to run this offense and think to themselves, we can win a Super Bowl. It's no way. For one, that get the ball out that quick is not even reliable. It's not. You're not always going to make people miss. You're not always, like, when you are an offense that's not really reliant on your ability to go out there and put up points on anybody, then you start to rely on too many external or external issues, in my opinion. Like, oh, will the ref call this play for us? Or is the ref going to call this play that hurts us? Like, it's just, and then when you get behind the sticks, you don't really know how to get in. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Noah Fant. They still struggle. Like that. I don't really know what you do at this point if you're the Seahawks other than replace Geno, replace the OC, which I think have to happen if the Seahawks going to be a competitive team in the future. Like, to me right now, this division in the NFC West, Seahawks in last place in this division, mind you, but this will be a division that probably come down to the wire at the end of the season. But I don't think this is a division filled with great teams. This division could be more like not as bad as the NFC South was last year. But you know how even the sorry-ass Panthers was competing for the division all the way up until like the last 3 weeks of the season or some shit like that. I think that's probably what's going to happen with the NFC West. But I don't see the Seahawks winning this division even though they got a lot of talent. I actually think that the Seahawks could find a way to fuck around and finish in last. Because now Geno is starting to fall apart. And I think like I said before, all these quarterbacks in the NFC for the most part is the same quarterback. So it's not like Geno falling apart and he can't fix it, because any of these quarterbacks can fall apart. But he falling apart and the other ones aren't right now. I do think Sam Darnold coming back down to life after the game I saw from him the last couple weeks. I mean, he had 2 interceptions last night and they still found a way to beat the Colts, who couldn't score, couldn't get nothing going offensively all night, really. Jonathan Taylor, as great a running back as he is, he didn't really do him no favors last night. But that's just how I see it right now. I don't think that the Seahawks are a playoff team either, but it could get ugly in that NFC with all these bad teams. It's probably going to make the playoffs. We talked about Dennis Allen being fired. We talked about the Broncos, who they had just beat. We talked about Dak's hamstring. So all that's left is the Bucks and the Chiefs on Monday Night Football game. The Monday Night Football game to prepare us for that. There is no preparing us for that, okay? We just talk about it when it gets here. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of The Recap presented by Saints World. It was a long one. Pause. Super pause. I appreciate you for joining. What time is it? Oh, 5:19. Look at that. We're about 3 hours away from Monday Night Football. Oh, boy. Well, I appreciate you for joining me, man. I really, really do. It's going to take a minute for this one to upload. This will probably go up at, I would imagine when the game is over tonight, this will probably be going up if I had to guess. Nonetheless, though, like I said, I appreciate y'all for joining me. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. You can be anything in this world. So please choose to be kind to somebody today. Like, subscribe, share. Hit the notification button also, if you don't mind. If you enjoyed this, go share it with somebody else. But I fuck with you. I love you. Oh, you know what? I got to say something. Before I leave, we're going to have to just basically do the whole outro again. Listen, I was on Netflix. Not Netflix. I don't even use Netflix. I was on Peacock. And I might have already told y'all this. I don't know. But if I did, oh, well, I'm telling you again. This show called Hysteria. I think I did talk about this show. The show Hysteria that I binge watched on Peacock. I think I told y'all about this, actually. I think I told y'all about this. It have the dude from like Ash of the Walking Dead on it. What's his name? I can't think of his name to save my life at the moment. Anyways, listen, I watched this show on Peacock called Hysteria. And it could have been it could have been a good show. It could have. But like most of the main characters is annoying as a motherfucker. So I'm starting to realize that adults or the people who write these shows that write like teenagers and high schoolers and shit do not know what the fuck they are writing. I don't know what high schools and middle schools some of these writing niggas went to. But who the fuck was bullying y'all niggas in college? I mean, in high school and in middle school? Because they writing shows where the bullies is basically psychopaths and murderers and shit. Like I was watching when I was watching the Stranger Things, the basketball dude that was a bully, bro. You would think the extent of what he was trying to do to one of the kids was like pull a prank on him. He dead ass was trying to kill him. Like who is writing this shit? Like I understand these is dark shows at times or Halloween based shows. My nigga, you got high schoolers turning into murderers. Now, I know you got the little psychotic ass Dylan Roof type niggas of the world and the Nick, the other nigga who shot up the high school. I know you got them little weird fuck niggas around. But bro, those are anomalies. What are we doing writing some of these high schoolers to be just complete fucking nutcases? This is like that other show that I watched, that animated show on Peacock. I think it's called Fright Night. Where the little high school girl on that shit is like psychotic as hell. I'm like, yo, it's one thing to be a bully, But the level of bullying in these shows is borderline, not even borderline. These niggas is straight up trying to be murderers. Like in Fright Night, the high school girl was going to end up killing the chick until her mom walked in. Who is writing this shit? That's my only complaint, yo. Like, I done dealt with a lot of high schoolers and middle schoolers in my lifetime, even now that I'm not in those grades anymore. Because I got siblings. I got nephews and nieces and shit. None of them niggas is murderers. And I got a nephew who done been to juvie, sat in there for a while for shooting into a car with people in it. That's an anomaly. That nigga's a nutcase. Other than him, which he didn't even do that in a school, and he wasn't a bully. Nigga was just attracted to the wrong lifestyle. But the way that some of these niggas is writing these Hollywood, these show characters to be bullies, but they basically is levels above bullies, is weird. I just want to say that. But nonetheless, with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of of the recap on Saints World. Like, subscribe, share, hit that noti. I fuck with you. I love you. And I appreciate you. Saying out.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party!
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, you know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.